start recording. So here we are with New Wave Infinity, and they've just brought out a 20-track album called All Corners. Now, I'm here with Noah and Nick from New Wave. Do you guys just want to introduce yourselves and tell us about the project?
I think if we just set a pretense, we're two of 10 people, so there's 8 people that aren't here right now. So we're representing two of a fraction of the whole group. But Delilah, do you want to take it away about what you do in the group?
Yeah, sure. Part of being a bigger movie machine and all that sort of thing of New Wave, but mainly production. So for All Corners, I was sitting in front of the computer most of the day, making beats and that sort of stuff, and helping artists get on the project and that sort of stuff. But yeah, anything from sort of production to behind the scenes, visuals and stuff like that. But yeah, mainly making the beats and shit.
I'm Nick Ray. I'm a filmmaker at New Wave Infinity. So I work in the visual team. I suppose played a bit of a role of being able to put together the visuals for it, and doing all the promotion kind of stuff. And I also played a part in kind of conceptualizing this idea and bringing it out. I was a part of the team that brought it to life. That's what.
Yeah. So do you want to tell us about All Corners and what it was all about and what was the result of it?
So All Corners is kind of based off this idea that the community in Melbourne is stronger together, and when we work together, we can create more noise, if that makes sense. And so we had this kind of concept to just bring people together and to see what happened. And we had this crazy idea of what if we just messaged all the artists we knew in Melbourne and to bring them into one studio, which was actually in fact 3 studios that were in different rooms for a week to create one project and to see what would kind of come of that. And the idea behind that was all coming together to share an experience together and to bring people together and be creative together. So that was a kind of concept, and as a result, we have a 10-minute documentary about the process, and we have a 20-track album, which is a fraction of the songs that were made over the course of the week, but has almost, I think, how many artists was it? I was thinking maybe 30 or so artists just on the album, if not more. That's kind of the kind of gist of it all, really.
Yeah. So where did the actual idea of having just a week of everyone in this one house making music come from? Was it just a spur of a moment thing, or?
It was almost what's the craziest idea we could possibly put together, and what's something that's that people would probably brand impossible. And it was just to kind of bring people together and all work on something, and that festival was an album for this particular project. But it was just to kind of we kind of wanted to create a project to kind of show the people in our city that this is what's going on in the underground. This is a small slice of what's going on, and encouraging people to delve deeper into into the underground Melbourne music scene, because we're so passionate about it. So that was the kind of concept for it. That happened to be an album. And so that was conceptualized, almost 2 years ago now. And it's taken us, the process has taken us 2 years to get it out and some. But it's taken a long time because there are so many crazy roadblocks we had to go through, but it's just so good to have it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's great.
And I'm gonna say it's such a good body of work, all 20 tracks. So how did someone get invited to the house? Were you guys all friends? Did someone know each other, or are you just strangers?
I think the scene is just so tightly knit. You kind of know everyone through association, and at least with social media nowadays, you can just kind of go and see everyone in the scene and get your idea, wrap your head around it. Yeah, I think a lot of gigs that we attended, we met a lot of people at.
Yeah.
Certainly like opening up for other artists in Melbourne and that sort of stuff. Yeah, and I think we sort of just connected and just went with that, and people that we liked, and yeah, gave everyone a shot, invited so many people. Like heaps of people came through, but even more invited. Obviously, some people couldn't make it because of work and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty crazy, and sort of just through the grapevine, man. Like,
yeah. So the album had such a range of songs, and obviously with that many people coming together, you're gonna have that range. So you've got your softer moments like Body Had Mine, Soft and Slow, and then your hard-hitting moments like Wake Up and I'm With the Gang. Did you guys have any sort of plan going into it, or is it just whatever people were feeling on the day? Or
not song structure-wise, nah.
No.
It was just like rock up, play a beat, start making a sample, like a lot of like talented people playing keys and guitar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just whatever people were vibing. Like usually the like juxtaposition of it was one like studio was completely going off, and one was like everyone was chill and like having a cry, like some like super opposite emotion to them. But yeah, it was just how people were feeling at the time, man. And I think that's really reflective of like the genre spanning, or at least the mood spanning, emotional sort of stories told throughout each song. I think it's really important that we all just feeling that way, and it came out within that body of work.
Yeah.
I think it's super hard to like. I think at the very start of the production phase, we were like, all right, how do we like structure this project, and how do we realistically actually do this? But when we got closer to the production time and it started, and like even into the few days of the actual recording process, we just learned just to kind of almost like take your hands off the wheel a little bit and let the people that are incredibly talented, just let the energy and the energy of the room just take over, because these are people that, you know, aren't necessarily used to that workflow about being in a studio with 30 other people. However, they've all practiced for years and years and years. And so solo, so like you get all those people in the room and they're all incredibly talented. It just works out. It just, the energy, and I think you can kind of feel that energy when listening to the project, you know what I mean? You can feel like the different, and each song is each different room at a different time point, and you can kind of feel where that room was at that particular time point. But yeah, absolutely, Delilah hit it on the head before, for real.
Yeah.
I think it's also extremely inclusive. Like no idea is a bad idea. And I think that's really important to sort of the production of it. Like having anyone bring any sort of vibe to the table, instead of taking it as, oh, that wasn't a hard enough verse, or like that didn't fit the vibe. Just we on the day we just get it all. Yeah.
I mean, with the hip hop scene in Australia and around the world, anywhere really, there's a lot of rivalry and beef and ego coming up, but that's like watching the documentary and listening to the tracks. I didn't feel any of that. So what was like, what did you gain the most from collaborating with people you may not have ever collaborated with, or strangers, friends? Like, what did you gain the most out of that?
Like personally, and I think the team really got a kick out of just bringing people together. I think some of the most, like the best memories I have from being in that studio was just like taking a step out for a minute and just watching everyone just talk, and watching everyone, you know, the sun go down and people just enjoying what they're doing and enjoying each other's company. That was so rewarding to just watch that happen, and watch these like people meet each other, like in a really like safe and calm environment, calm environment. It was so beautiful to see that. And I think it, like throughout the whole process of recording, it was just like everyone came through, everyone was making music, everyone was like doing it because they loved it, you know what I mean? There was no talk about paying features or anything like that. Everyone was just there because they were passionate about it, and they wanted to share their art with each other and like encourage one another. And like that was by far the most rewarding part of the whole thing. It's just kind of like sitting back and just watching what was going on, because I think it was really special. The documentary captures a fraction of that, but it was crazy to be there, bro. So personally for me, that's what I think. But what about you, Delilah?
I think that like a big thing I took away from it was that we're all really not different. Like at the end of the day, amongst like all of our creative stuff, we're all human. Like everyone felt really connected in a way, even though like you're saying there's this sort of hip hop scene ego and like all this sort of stuff. When everyone was just there because they enjoyed making music, that's what felt like cool. We all just have a similar interest. Like we are all on the same sort of wavelength, and it felt good to be like all these different, you know, cultures, all these different people, and all these different areas of Melbourne. Just like growing up in different areas of Melbourne is awesome. Just so cool to have all those different inclusive genres and stories. Like.
Yeah. So with the documentary and the album coming out with 2 huge pieces of work, have you guys thought about what's next? What's happening for New Wave Infinity?
I think I mean, like as I said before, like this project's taken the best part of 2 years.
Yeah.
And to get a project out like this, it's been a lot of hard work. And I think right now, our team's just gonna kind of have a rest for a little bit and kind of recoup and go. And we don't know yet. But I think it's time to rest a little bit. I think
we've all been like slightly separated throughout isolation, like that sort of broke the project into like a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I think we're all very much just like need to hang out and like get back on the wavelength, that sort of thing. Because like creativity is something you can't just like sit into, you know. Like to start working with everyone together takes time and it takes connection with people. So I think we're just gonna start hanging out some more now that we're like allowed to, and see where it goes, and no doubt something crazy cool will be coming out soon.
Anything you want to say to the people?
Like,
thank you for taking the time and watching this. Thank you for interviewing us too, bro.
Just like, thanks, man.
For anyone that watches it, thank you for it, and we hope you enjoy it, because it's like, as Marlo said in the documentary, it's just a labor of love, and this project was it because they loved it, and so that's what
entirely. Stream it, check it out. Big love to everyone. Thank you. You're doing something for Melbourne and for the music scene.
I genuinely love the album. Like when I listened to it, I was like, no way they did this.
It means so much.
Genuinely amazing stuff, and like incredible. You just got everyone together. But yeah, thanks so much for speaking with us. We
good, man. Thank you.
Are looking forward to so much more. And you know, I'm personally from Sydney, and when watching that documentary, I was like, wow, I just want to be there. They just seemed.
I want to move to Melbourne and do all corners too.
we can bring New Wave Infinity to Sydney. You know, there's artists everywhere.
That's not a bad idea. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Thanks so much, guys.
I
appreciate it.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks.
Peace and love. Thank you.
Like how I like Banksy, going through the back streets, serve you like a 4-course.